Welcome back to Thoughtful Thursday, where we answer your questions about this past Sunday's message. We are on, take 59 of this because it doesn't seem to want to work for us today. So hopefully this one...
Yeah, hopefully we're going to make this happen.
Yeah, hopefully it works. So, this past Sunday you spoke on Esther...
Chapters 3
and 4. Sorry, I've said this so many times now I can't even remember. And can you just tell us very briefly what that was about?
It's about Esther.
Okay, great.
You said very briefly.
Okay.
Yes, about how we can persevere through challenges. A lot of those challenges sometimes are spiritual warfare, sometimes they're a hard situation that we have to go through. But if we face those challenges and we walk through those challenges, we have an opportunity to be a blessing to those around us and an encouragement.
All right, so our first question is more about terminology. What is spiritual warfare? It's a really easy question, guys. No. But can we say this can you explain it in the most simplistic terms possible?
Yes.
Okay.
I think.
I want to say it's the good and evil, and
right. Yeah.
It's more than that.
It is a little bit more than that, but it is. It's the battles of good and evil. It's the battles of the angels and demons in the spiritual realm. That is part of spiritual warfare. Spiritual warfare is also that what we face on a more regular basis is, when we begin to walk towards Christ, whether that's your first introduction to Jesus and you're starting to walk towards Him, or you've been walking with Jesus for 50 years and you're continuing to dive in and try and grow deeper with the Lord. The obstacles and the challenges that you sometimes face from the spiritual realm, that's spiritual warfare.
All right. And so the other question that's part of that is, how do you persevere when those things are coming at you? How do you, because they're coming at you when you're fulfilling your purpose that God has given you in many ways, if that just purpose be like gathering on Sunday mornings, that purpose be the way that you speak to people, all of those things, I think, in your workplace or wherever. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm really sorry. We're like, let's do it outside. That'll be great. So how do you persevere in those things? And first I just want to start by saying that some people take these two things to an extreme, where the extreme is that every single obstacle you face is some sort of spiritual warfare or whatever. And then the other one is it doesn't exist. And I think we have to go somewhere in the middle. This does exist. This is happening around us. Perseverance is partially just being prepared. And I think it's also what you're focusing on. I think, if you are focused on fulfilling God's purpose for your life, regardless of what you are facing, if you are in right relationship with Him, spending time with the Lord, prepared by, we've talked about this before, but your armor of God and all those things, I think then you can persevere, and you can also be alert. You'll have that awareness that that is what is taking place. And we've talked as simple as, trying to get out of the house on Sunday morning. There's going to be obstacles. And I'm going to say that oftentimes that is spiritual, because Satan would love for you to not show up, and not be part of the body of Christ on a Sunday morning. But that it's going to go further than that. And then there's times where nope, that's not really what's happening. So what would you add anything to that of just how to persevere?
I think the addition to that would be, make sure that you're in a community of people that can help you, and encourage you and
maybe
pray for you.
My thought is also community they're an objective view as to what is spiritual warfare,
right,
where you can get tripped up, that you might be but this seems like a whole lot easier if I go in this direction, and they could say, you're heading in a direction that, this is why, because Satan loves to use distraction. He loves to use pretty things. He's not just he's not standing there with fire and flames like you see, in the movies or whatever. It's the attractive thing to go towards.
It's not always going to be something that's sinful. It just might be something that
takes you away from
what God has for you that day.
All right, so our next question is, in the book of Esther, very famous verse, talks about, you were made for such a time as this. You were created for such a time as this. So as Christians right here, right now, the question is, how I'm not saying this right. What would that mean for our lives right now? What do you think the Christian living in this time was created to do? And I think what we're created to do doesn't change in when you were born. You know, like, it's not like, okay, so because you were born in like 19 whatever, you were created, you know, to do something completely different. I think we were all, yes and no. We were all created to glorify God, to bring glory to Him, to share Him with other people, and to fulfill the purpose He has for us. But that does change based on, anybody want ice cream?
Ice cream man. I gotta go. Ice cream man.
That does change based on, not change, but like, I don't know, maybe you can say it better than me. Maybe not.
Oftentimes, it refocuses it, right? It refocuses it to a different direction, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we are created for such a time as this, or we are placed in such a time as this. I was created for ice cream. I love ice cream. If we weren't doing this, I'd probably run and get ice cream. No, but when we face, you know, we look at the time period that we are living in right now, with everything that's gone on in the last year, with everything that's gone on globally and in America, we have been. This should refocus us as followers of Christ to, you know, fulfill what God has created us to do, and that is, like Becky said, created to bring Him glory and to share the gospel and to do the things that He's gifted you to do, and the place that He's placed you, used you in your. But this should also be a time where we are super excited as followers of Christ, because we have an opportunity to share with the world an unbelievable hope and love and purpose that Jesus has for them, in the midst of all of this.
Yeah, and I feel like obviously people have been looking for hope since the beginning of time, but it feels like in this season that we're living in right now, and in this generation, that is the greatest thing that people just, especially what we've lived through in the last year, is hope. Is just, I think that's something that really resounds, and just, yeah. All right, our last question is comes from something you shared on Sunday, obviously, because that's what we're talking about. But how can we as a church be about kingdom building rather than just having a party for Jesus every Sunday? And I think, you know, we can see this a lot in our Christian culture, that we often, we just do Sunday. We do church, we go to church. And like you said, that kind of just, all that's doing is having a party for Jesus on Sunday. But how do we do more than that? I guess really the question is, like, how do we be the church rather than going to church?
Right.
And so I think, I don't know, my thought is that it has, like, Jesus has to be part of your every aspect of your life. Like, it's not just you going to church on Sunday. Like, He is your life, your purpose in life, like we just said, is to bring Him glory, to share Him with others. And that doesn't have to, that's not just on Sunday mornings. And I think as a church, as Hoboken Free Church, we want to be known as the church, not just a place you go. Right.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. You just got, we have to stop going to church and be the church. And what is that? So that's seeking out new friendships, seeking out people at your workplace, in your apartments, in your neighborhoods. You know, what if you are serving people, or you know, if you go to the gym, or you go, you know, whatever it is that you do throughout the day and throughout the week, are you looking for opportunities to engage people and be the church to those people by serving them, by, you know, engaging in conversations with them, by just being Christ to them.
Yeah.
And so
I think something we've talked about in one of our community groups, I pointed to, but you weren't there. One of the women's community groups.
Yep, wasn't at that one.
We often think of serving in terms of Sunday morning. I don't know, like, if you might think that, but you get like this servant sign up, you know, sign up to serve in this area, and like we forget that, you know, even if your job is not a helping job, even if your job is not something you can still serve people where you are, because the person on the other end of the phone, even when you make a phone call at, you know, whatever you're doing, how you interact with them is a way of loving people. And so you have opportunities throughout your entire day to really have an impact on people's lives. And it doesn't mean just we love when you serve here. We are so thankful for each and every one of you that do. But that's not the only thing.
Right.
And so our hope is that filters through your whole life, and that filters through each and every day, that we would see that. So that Sunday morning is awesome, and it is great, and we get together, and God calls us to do that. But at the same time, it is our hope to be the church in wherever you are, wherever God has placed you for such a time as this. I think that's all.
Awesome.
So join us next week. Actually, join us this Sunday. We'll start there. This Sunday, you can join us online or in person at 10:30 a.m. You can go onto our website and click on a button, I'm pretty sure, that says register. Maybe.
Click here to register.
It says click here to register, but I think that's pretty clear. And register for this week's gathering in person, or you can join us online. We'll be there as well, and you'll be speaking on Esther chapters
5 and 6.
5 and 6. So we look forward to seeing you this Sunday and back here next week. All right, have a great week, everyone.
Bye.